Good morning. We are doing Math Fundamentals. It's April 22nd. This is our Wednesday video, and we are on 13.8 in our lessons. And yesterday, I'll remind you, we were finding the lateral area, or the area of each of the faces added up together. So yesterday was lateral area. Today we're going to begin talking about volume. And volume is how much can it hold on the inside? How much is there? So remember, when we found area, we were just actually looking for, well, what is the area of the top? What is the area of the bottom? And what are the areas of the sides? And so we would find all of those pieces and we would add them up to find the total area, not the lateral area, the total area or the surface area of the shape. Okay, so when we did that, we still had flat shapes. Remember how we would take our paper cube, we cut it, and we would lay it flat to see all of the shapes that made it up. Well, that didn't tell us how much it would hold, right? So if I wanted to do plastic and I folded up all my sides and I wanted to see how much water I could put on the inside, that's the volume that we're looking for. So when we find area, we find a flat shape and we broke it into squares, and we said, well, how many square units? And that's why we would always have a square symbol at the end for a measurement. Well, when we find volume, and I want to find how much this cube can hold, okay, I can no longer use flat squares to fill it up. That would take a really long time. A million little flat squares, right, till it's stacked up. That's not actually what we want to do. But what we want to do is we want to take our 1 by 1, so let's measure in centimeters right now. And what I want to do is I want to take a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter cube. So it's 1 centimeter across, it's 1 centimeter in width, and it's 1 centimeter in height. So it's a 1 by 1 by 1 cube, because we have to have the width, the length, and we have to have the height to find the volume, okay? So I take my 1 centimeter cube and I put it inside. Something like this, okay? And now I want to see how many of these cubes do I have to put inside, right? So let's just say it takes 27 of these cubes. Then my answer would be 27 centimeter, not squared anymore, because now I'm filling it up with cubes. Okay, so it would be cubed, and cubed is by the power of 3. So, or cubic centimeters, this would be my answer. So how many cubes does it take? So let's just start with this simple. What did we do to find the volume of this cube? Well, we took the base, we took the length times the width times the height, right? Now, let's look at what the length and the width did. What they did was they found us the bottom or the base square that made up the base of my cube, right? So the length and the width always make up the base, and then we need to we'll have to multiply by the height, okay? So the formula for finding the volume of a prism is the volume equals the base times the height. And we have to remember that the base is just the length times the width. Okay? So now that we've gone over that, I'm sure you remember this from previous lessons, what volume is. So let's do a couple of examples of finding the volume of some prisms. Let's look on page 392, and they give us this shape. They give us let's see, okay, so they give us this shape. I think this will help if I make this one dotted so we can see it's in the back. Okay, so now we have this shape that we need to find the volume of, and it's not going to be as easy as we would like for it to be. But let's back up. I want to do one that works for you. Let's look back on page 391. We'll come back to this one because we want to do the volume of a prism, and this isn't actually a prism. It's half of a prism of the base times the height. So let's do the shape that's on the previous page. That's a rectangular prism. And we'll start with that one, so I don't want to get you confused. Okay, so here we had a rectangular prism and 2 by 4 by 3, okay? And it's measured in centimeters. Okay, well, if it's 2 here, then what is it here? 2. So our formula says the volume equals the base times the height. So the volume equals the base times the height. Okay, so remember the base is the length times the width. So the length times the width. So we have 4 times 2, which equals 8. So the volume equals 8 as the base times the height. What is the height? 3. So volume equals 8 times 3. So volume equals 24 centimeters cubed. Okay? That is a simple formula. The base, basically the length times the width times the height, will give you the answer to the volume of a prism. Okay? So let's talk about this triangular prism. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this prism, and it's really hard to see this one as a prism because it has this base of this rectangle, but it doesn't have the base of a rectangular on top, but it's also not a pyramid. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn this shape for you, and I'm going to do it like this. And now what you can see is that we do have a triangular prism, because remember a prism is labeled by its 2 bases, the top and the bottom bases. Okay, so our triangle is actually the base. They just have it turned. So if you take your book and you turn it, you can see that we have a top and a bottom for it to sit on. So this is a triangular prism. Okay, so how do we find the area of the base of a triangle? Okay, well, if you remember, the area of a triangle equals 1/2 the base times the height. Okay, so that's just to find the area of the base. Okay, so let's do that. We can see that the distance across the triangle, or the base of the triangle according to our picture, is 8, and the height is 3. Okay, and the height is 3. So let's fill that in. We have 1/2 8 times 3. So we have 1/2 of 24. So the area of the base of the triangle equals 12. 24 divided by 2 equals 12. Okay? So now let's take and let's plug that in to the volume formula for a prism. Volume equals the base, so the area of the base, which is 12, times the height. And in our picture, we can see that the height is 10. Okay, so 12 times 10 equals 120. So the area equals, what is it in? Meters cubed, because I'm finding the volume. Okay, so the whole trick is to figure out what the bases are, what 2 shapes are the same. And then you want to take that shape, set it on its end, find the area of that shape. Then you're going to multiply that area of that shape times the height of the prism. Okay? So don't be confused if it's turned. You're finding the base. Okay? So look at number 2. Okay? So in number 2 on the skill check, you'll see that you have another triangular prism. Sure, it's laid on its side, but you have to think of it topped up. The base is actually a triangle, so we need to find the area of that triangle, and then multiply it times the height, which is 15. Okay, so let's do number 2 quickly. So the volume equals the base times the height. Okay, and so in that shape we have a triangle that is, I'm just going to do the triangle, 9 and 10, and it's a right triangle. So we want to find the area of the base first of that prism. So we're going to do 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2 of 90, which equals 45. Okay, so my area or my base is 45. Now I'm going to multiply that times my height, and if I look in my picture, the height of my prism is 15 meters. So I'm going to do 45 times 15. And when I do that, I get 675 meters cubed. So my volume equals 675 meters cubed. Okay? So find the area of the base and multiply it times the height. All right, let's do your exercises. Let's do numbers 1 through 13.